King Candy does this exact same thing. When Wreck-It Ralph walks over to beat his ass, the snarky little manlet pulls out a set of bifocals and insists, "You wouldn't hit a guy with glasses, would you?" This is the point I am making. When fully reduced, all moral claims become, "You wouldn't hit a guy with glasses, would you?" This is why modern morality has developed into a sort of Munchausen syndrome, in which people are competing to be more oppressed than the other, because in Rousseauist and eventually Marxist thought, it is the harmless, peace-loving human who has been wronged by society and is thus exalted by an overly empathetic moral framework. The Rousseauist benefits from his own degradation because it only makes himself more worthy of pity, and pity is the prime currency of any morality. Know this, there are those who will intentionally disfigure themselves for your sympathy. They don't want to see the truth. They'd rather go blind than be blamed for their actions. But sympathy beyond a certain point becomes a pathology. It destroys the self by dissolving all boundary. Ted Bundy knew this. That's why he wore a cast whenever he preyed on women, because he would appeal to the nurturing anima and natural feminine compassion, using sympathy as an execution device. Further, he would ask them to comply with a simple request, like helping with a tire. By the default of the victim saying yes and proving agreeability, this girl had revealed that she was complicit to his request, which is exactly what this interviewer sought: capitulation, this time not with physical head, but mental, i.e. language and intellect. For all predators are seeking to either assault or consume. Every monster is either trying to put something in your mouth or put you in theirs. Fortunately, as King Candy and Ted Bundy illustrate, these moral claims only hold ground so long as the purveyor continues to disable themselves. Morality becomes a race to the finish line of whoever can make themselves the most depraved, and the winner is whoever comes last. It's a reversal of merit. This is why most cults and revolutions disband, inkill, and self-consume, because they devolve into a purity spiral in which every zealot is trying to prove that they are more loyal and meeker than the next. Robespierre was killed by his own revolutionary children, the same way the Greek gods rebelled against Saturn after he consumed his offspring. This truth is primordial. This is the permanent revolution which Trotsky spoke of. Revolutionaries can never win, because once they win, they become the power system they were revolting against. Revolutionaries depend on their own persecution, because it vindicates them. The easiest way to express this is by the destruction of their own personality, which is a collapse into the collective insectoid hive mind of the mob. In the end, all mobs end up fighting against themselves, because what they ultimately despise by transitive property is themselves. And the only thing which justifies their anger is morality, which requires that they appear weak, powerless, degraded, humiliated. This morality is not humility, however. It is pride flipped upside down, aka self-loathing, which is a form of self-obsession. It is selfish, like all pride is, but reeking of self-deprecating humor, a timid arrogance, Orson Welles called it. And the mob is no better than a gang of roadmen who joke about their disfigurement while they rob you. They expect you to compliment their ugly fashion sense while they press a gun to your temple and complain about their bad hair day, fishing for compliments before they make you swim with the fishes. This I find revolting. Thus, my conclusion is violence is inevitable, morality can only justify, but both immorality and hypermorality result in violence unjustified. And all social justice warriors are closer to serial killers than they'd like to admit. The goodest people you know will use morality to bring about your mortality. They will kill you with their kindness. King Candy does this exact same thing. When Wreck-It Ralph walks over to beat...
This is so interesting, and I could just keep watching this again and again. I recommend definitely going and checking out this guy's Instagram. He's very interesting. So, this is so interesting. I mean, the start, I see Munchausen syndrome, and that makes me wonder if people think I have Munchausen syndrome, because I have really horrible insomnia, and I don't know, people will be like, he's faking it, which is in fact one of the reasons I've been fairly quiet about it for my whole life until recently, because I didn't want to be one of these people claiming weakness in order to get sympathy and help and all this stuff, even though I needed it, because screw that. It's not my style. I like to wrestle. I like to do hard things. And yeah, being a pathetic moralizer doesn't float with me. But just a random thought I had. This provoked a lot of thoughts, like the idea of mutilating yourself in order to elevate your virtue, mimicking the idea that Hyperion, I think it was Oceanus, the Titan, said that we should give way to the Greek gods because they're more beautiful. And it's this idea that beauty is a form of morality. Like, beauty is a moral value, because ugliness appeals to the moralizers. So therefore, in order to actually have moral value, you need to not self-sacrifice. Like, not self-sacrificing in that way is the real moral value. Very much like Ayn Rand, where she talks about man should not sacrifice himself for the happiness of others. Man should have self-esteem. And then someone asked her, "But you support your husband?" She's like, "Yes, but it gives me happiness to do that." And so Ayn Rand's objectivism very much comes into line with this. Like, we should be very skeptical and wary and suspicious of those who advocate sacrificing themselves for others, because this betrays a self-loathing that will have its time out, which is interesting. It's like the self-loathing becomes the 2 minutes of hate, which is why it's almost impossible not to join in the 2 minutes of hate. And at the same time, the Greek gods illustrate the path to making the revolution not perpetual because of their elevation of beauty, which is... It's interesting. Like, I really believe that the ancient Greek mythology transcends a lot of the problems with basic morality. And it really, like, ancient Greek, like the Mycenaeans, specifically like the Odyssey, really serves as a bridge between slave morality and the morality of God. Because I believe that Christianity fundamentally reconciles these two things unto themselves, which is why God wrestled Jacob.